welcome Black Friday Business Initiative family. We thank y'all for tuning in yet for another week, another great interview that we're going to have today with a great friend of mine, Julie Mims. But before that, you know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about Black Friday and why we're here and the purpose of why we're here to serve the community. Black Friday Business Initiative started in 2013 to be able to support our community. It's not one of those fly-by-night, Black-owned support businesses. We're here for the long haul. We want to give our support to our community as our community support our Black-owned businesses. It's a hand-in-hand thing. So what do we look for? We look for a Black-owned company, number one. Two, that you have a good product, that product has a good market price. And four, that you give back to the community. It's not hard to have those four things in society right now. We all know that old adage that Blacks don't give good business. We want to remove that. We want to eradicate that whole ideology. And how do we do that? By identifying. So the marking that you see to the side with the red, yellow, and green banding next to Black Friday, below the screen on the other side, I got to find it over here. That symbol in itself that you know on any restaurant, any business, maybe brick and mortar or electronically, that business has those four qualities. We're in a time right now where our community really needs to come together and support one another. The economy is turning upside down. As far as the management, we got COVID-19 that's eradicating jobs and employment at a rapid pace. We was already as a community below the average mark for employment in America. And of course, as you know right now, especially in your hospitality cities or places where customer service are for blue collar careers, that it's a lot of people losing their jobs. So we have to find ways, innovative ways to support ourselves, to be able to sustain ourselves through this time. One thing that I always attribute to the Black community is that we're survivors. We know how to make it through everything. If we can make it through the atrocities and the hardships of slavery and any of those other things, that Jim Crow and all those other things, we can make it through COVID. This is only a minor setback to who we are, and it's going to show the testament of our fortitude and our strength as a people. So continue to support us. If you want to find us, we're at blackfriday.bi on Instagram. We also have a Black Friday, have a YouTube page, and we're also on Facebook. Same thing at blackfriday.bi. So without further ado, a good friend of mine, we go way back enough. We got some good friendship that we actually built over some time. I love her spirit, who she is as a human, and the things that she brings to the world. Her creativity is something to be admired as a human, not only physical, her creativity mentally is a blessing. So without further ado, let me bring Julie Mims to the stage. She's backstage taking deep breaths right now.
Hello.
Hey, Julie. How you doing, Ms. Mims?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I just want to say that I've been following Black Friday Initiative for many years, and every time I go to a Black business and I see that logo, I'm like, yes, I know I'm in good hands because I got that stamp of approval. So hopefully I get to earn my stamp too, and I can use that symbol.
You got it. It's coming to you, man. That's why you're on this show. You know, it's like, you know how I am, Julie. I look for people that's doing good stuff, and I've been watching you for a while and the things that you've been doing. And I'm gonna say this, and I know it deserves some correction, and I'm gonna let you get into that. But it's like most of your products are feminine directed to women, and so I know there's some other things that you do for men, but we'll get into all of that stuff. That's because we want the people to know who I know, right? They ain't gonna know who I know, but you know, you have a general idea of who you are. What brought you and led you into this line of work? So just give us a little backstory of Julie Mims, and you know, just you're born in New Orleans. You know, just let's start somewhere. How did your story go? How does it shape up?
Okay, so I'll start. My name is Julie Mims, aka JB Mims, aka Jules the Goddess, aka the NOLA Nipple Charmer. And I love to use that name. I have been a local in New Orleans for 25 years. So when someone asks that question, what school you went to? What school you went to? I
Right,
can proudly
right.
answer that. Go Cavaliers, De La Salle alumni.
Cavaliers. What's Cavaliers?
Yes, the school
What
on
is that?
Avenue.
What
St.
at?
Charles, 5300 St. Charles Avenue.
Okay, I want no trouble.
All right, all right. You know what it is. Went to LSU for about a year. Also went to Southern University in New Orleans. And then, much to the chagrin of my middle class family, decided to drop out and become a full-time artist.
Gotcha. So that's where we at right now. That's what's up. So most people when they think about art, they think about painting and poetry and creating statues and figurines. You know, that's different forms of art. So when you said to become an artist, you're born an artist, right? So like how long and where did you realize in yourself that you were an artist? Like, was it percolating the whole time that you were growing up and you were just holding it down, or like how did you recognize that part of yourself?
So I definitely believe that people are born artists. It was clear and evident when I was a little kid and they discovered that I was left-handed. You know, left-handed people are very creative. But I always liked to create things with my hands, whether it was doing hair, playing with baby dolls, designing clothes, whatever I could do to express myself creatively with my hands, I was definitely drawn to, led to. And then also using my physical body. I've been a dancer, a professional dancer for the last 20 years. And so any kind of way that I can express myself in a creative way, I'm definitely gonna go in that direction.
So we gotta talk, Julie. And I'm glad that you just said that, sister. Oh, I am so glad you just brought that up. Cause we go get on the business. We go get on the business. But I told you the people got to know who you are. And what Julie just did for everybody that's out there in Black Friday land, because today is Friday, so go out and support a black owned business if you're watching right now.
That's right.
But when Julie and I met, she downplayed to me the fact that she is the icon of salsa dancing and all the other Latin dances that you can gather and muster up. So she was like, Isaac, I got this social. Would you like to come and check it out? I'm like, whatever, just blowing it off. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you. Let's check it out. I get there, and Julie, like, and another thing, if you've never been to a social, like, there's no such thing as like, this is my date or this is the person I'm with. Anybody can come up and grab your person and be gone, right? So I'm just sitting there, we chopping it up, and this guy just comes over and reaches his hands out, and she jumps up, and I see this woman flipping and spinning, and I'm like, hold on.
Yes. All kind of Cirque du Soleil on the dance floor.
Yeah. I was totally enamored. I was like, this is amazing, because like some people say they can dance, right? But Julie, you can dance, man. Like, and what's my little thing that I was trying to get? Like, yeah. And on top of that, and on top of the dancing, and I want you to talk about the dancing too. And I know you teach classes for that as well. So go into all of that. I don't know if you're still doing it, but I know you were teaching classes, but we want to talk about all that.
Yeah, so life in the time of COVID, social dancing and teaching classes is not the safest thing to do right now. And so definitely taking a backseat to that, but dance is still very much my passion. So I'll give you a little backstory of how I started. In 2000, I attended my first dance class. It was a Latin dance class. They taught salsa, bachata, a little merengue here and there. And I fell in love with the music. So I grew up in LA. And so there was a very different kind of Latin culture there. It was mostly like Mexican Americans. And so they had a different kind of music. And so even when I was encouraged to take my first dance classes, I said, I don't speak Spanish. I don't like, Tejano music. I don't like, so I did go to the class, and it was all Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Cuban based music. And so instinctually, I was like, I belong here. Like, I have to learn this. And I have to say, I was quite a natural. So it didn't take long before I started like competing and doing like exhibitions with various dance teams around the city. And then, of course, going around the country, different like congresses and things like that, performing. It was an amazing journey over the 20 years that I was doing it.
Yeah. That was a nice little life flex. You know, I was a natural. You know, that horn, I heard the hornbeat too. I heard it.
It
And
came very naturally. It did.
yeah, and I mean, the way when you was teaching me some of those things, it was I learned. You know, I'm not the greatest, and you know, I know how to beanie weenie. You know, I know how to edit bow. You know, so, look, no, that's the bow is better than the beanie for you.
Yeah.
The beanie weenie was kind of
I'm in
weak.
a chair. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work on
yeah.
it. I'm gonna work
Yeah,
on it.
please work on it. Next time we have this conversation, I want you to be in that thing. I want you to, you know, to be able to flex with it. Why the lips go in when you do it? Why that's a part of the thing? You got to tuck them in. But part 3, the hair. So you were my loctician for a very long time. So let's talk about that. Because you mentioned that you got into the hair business. And I know you to be an all around artist. Like whatever you do with your hands is going to be amazing. I know that about you, and I want the people to know that about you because I want your phone blowing up more than just for the jewelries and the amulets and things that you create. Yeah, you got mouths to feed. You know what I mean? So like, let's get it. So
I love it.
yeah. So just talk about the hair portion, like how you got into that and whatnot.
Okay, so yeah, it started when I was a kid. My mother, who was a full-time worker, was not very into hair care. She could do it, but it wasn't the greatest. And so little Julie going off to school, being teased for like lopsided pigtails, I was like, look, I'm just gonna take control of this, and so I don't get teased every day. So that's kind of where it started. In high school, I would like hook my friends up, the latest styles. In college, I used to make, some money on the side to help
hustling,
out.
Right?
Hustling, you gotta hustle.
You gotta get that hustle spirit.
Yes, definitely. And then it just turned into, after years of honing that craft, really getting knowledgeable about it and really, really crafty with it. And then there was sort of a revolution in my mind and of course around the world with women embracing their natural hair. And so I was really, really excited about that. I made started growing locks, but before I did that, I made a covenant unto myself and my creator, and I wanted to be able to express my own beauty through growing my locks. And of course, people were encouraged and inspired by that. And so I became a loctician, and I've started so many different locks around the city. And it's just beautiful to see something start organically or even, manicured, but how it grows like a garden, and you tend to it. And so it brings me a lot of pleasure. It's a passion of mine to make sure that people feel comfortable in their own skin and, of course, show the beauty that we have as Black people.
That's real, man. And I can attest that you got healing hands because anytime that you did my, retwisted my head and you went through the whole, what you call it when you have to lay down and let the
ACV rinse, the apple cider vinegar detoxing.
Yeah, it was so invigorating. So, like for everybody, like she's good. Look her up. Before the show is over, we're gonna make sure we get all the information that she wants to provide to be in touch with her. But definitely, and when you start talking about locks, that's an intimate doing hair. That's an intimate space to be with someone.
Definitely.
Are you still doing hair, or you just put that to the side during COVID?
Yeah, so let me be a little bit more specific. So I used to do a lot of like in-home. I would have people come because I believe that the space that you're in, it's important. It has to be conducive to, feeling good. It's a very intimate thing. But I also like to go to my client's place to make sure that they have everything that they need. And that they feel comfortable. We sit, we talk for hours, we're rapping, we're doing the hair, we're eating, we're chopping it up, watching movies. So it's definitely not just hair, it's an experience. It's connecting with with people. And there's quite a few professional Black women in New Orleans, I won't say their names, that I've been tending their crops for a couple of years now, and it's
Wow.
mm-hmm.
Oh, so let's talk about tending crop and crop. When I met you, your crop was to your feet, like your locks,
just about.
bruh. So the first time you had like in this little lock afro, and then
Yeah,
when you
the
took
lock
it
pedals.
down, what
Mm-hmm.
it's called?
It's a style called lock pedals, where they take
Uh-huh.
your locks and they like fold them up into like these little rubber bands, and so it gives you an afro shape, but it
Mm-hmm.
disguises the length that you have.
And it truly disguised the length of, because it was just your hair was as long as your body. I was like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't like,
it's
I was
really
like,
long.
this is amazing. So I said, this woman has to do my hair, because if you have that type of hair on your head, it's like,
Right.
yeah, it was pretty dope, man. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. So
Mm-hmm.
you went, you said you was here for 25 years in the city, so that within 25 years, Katrina happened. So
Yes.
were you here during Katrina? Or how did that? Were you gone at the time? Or
Yeah, no, I was here during Katrina. That what I would like to call it, Ellie, a not extinction level event, but near extinction level event. We're still here, but it
right?
definitely changed the course of the city and the feel of the city. But
Mm-hmm.
I moved here in '94. I was a sophomore in high school. And like I said, I went to graduate from here. I went to college in Baton Rouge, came back to New Orleans. Being from LA, I would spend a lot of time going back and forth. And so I was in LA for about 3 years. I met my husband. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
mention that, my husband and two teenage
Shout
kids.
out.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Shout out.
So we decided to, my daughter was born in LA. We decided to move back to New Orleans. It was a year to the day before Katrina. So we were here for about a year. We had a
Wow.
little one. And usually, like when hurricanes come through, we just hunker down. But
Right.
we were living in Michoud, which is east
Mm.
of New Orleans East, and there's that
Yes.
big national park out there. And of course, it was kind of wild out there, anyways. And so I knew that being without like services, electricity, water, and that kind of thing with a little one, I didn't think it was wise. So we did, take heed, thank God, and we went to Houston. We packed
Right.
for 3 days and wind up living there for 3 years.
Gotcha. So let's start getting to the business. So you're in Houston.
Yes.
How did you? We spoke about that inner artist, right? So did someone come in your life, or how does the jewelry portion come into play?
Okay. So living in Houston, it was definitely I don't want to say a cultural shock, but a definite upheaval of life. And so being creative, I wanted to make sure that I was doing something that fueled that creativity. And I will give you a little bit too about being a creative, but also being a Black person in America. So growing up as a little kid, not feeling desired or valuable or beautiful, it was something that I had to overcome
Mm-hmm.
at different stages in my life. And so when I was in Houston, kind of like in a chrysalis, I, kind of reflected on life, and those self-limiting beliefs start to kind of creep in. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel empowered or beautiful, especially like having kids and your body changes and you're just different. And so I started researching how to like adorn myself in a way that would, just make me feel better. And that's
Gotcha.
when I came upon, I started learning about West African style waist beads and waist beading and what that meant to wear those. And then sharing that with like my mom, who was there at the time, making them for like family and friends and kind of like sharing and doing waist bead parties and things like that. It definitely sparked or resparked that creative thing. And so when I had the opportunity to move back home to New Orleans, I decided that I didn't want to just do it as a hobby, but I thought that I could like reach out to other people and, also make a little money doing it.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the this particular thing about the show again, because I brought it up, but it went back down on its own. It didn't want to be seen. It was a little camera shy. There we go. So talk to us about that. Like, what are we looking at?
All right, so this is a premium strand of my waist beads. Most of the time, so waist beads are very popular now, and you will see a lot of people, whether they're showing them off or kind of like concealing them, but they're very standard. They're usually made of glass beads or vintage beads. I wanted to take it up a notch and incorporate crystals and minerals, because I'm very much into like crystal healing therapy. I also do crystal consultations and create like combinations and formulas for people who are looking to attract certain kind of energy. And so the waist beads, of course, just followed suit with that. So I have, like I said, premium waist beads. And the really, really interesting and cool part is when people commission a strand, there are a list of things that I ask or that I require so that I can get to know them a little bit better, get to know what kind of energy they want to work with. I also include numerology into the design.
Okay.
And usually there's a very mystical thing that happens. The numerology, the crystals, they somehow, when I'm measuring and doing the length that is required, it just works out. So I definitely like to do, it's always very, very symmetrical. It always just really works out. And I attribute that to, the spiritual side, the intuition, and being a vessel for this creative entity that, I'm so blessed to be able to embody.
And I'm hearing a lot of stuff, some things that you and I have discussed in the past. Like you put me on a lot of things, like the tiger's eye, I believe it is.
Red tiger's eye.
The pyrite, and then we always had conversations about chakras and things of that nature. So, and I'm hearing some of those things are being introduced or being implemented into your work. So talk about that a little bit, how you got into the numerology, how you got into the chakras, how you got into the energies, and how that transfers from you as a creator, as a goddess, as you mentioned, into your work. So talk about that a little bit.
So with dealing with or learning more about crystals and crystal energy, you learn that the crystals correlate to specific chakras. And so in order to prescribe a crystal combo, you have to know which chakras people may have like blockages, which chakras may be overactive, which ones are underactive, and really try to set intentions, make things that are very, very intentional, as opposed to just beautiful. And so a little bit about that, I was introduced to crystals, but very specifically yoni crystals. And one of the, and I'll explain that in a second too. And one of the, for lack of a better word, rituals, or one of the ceremonies that we would use in order to get your body ready to receive these was something that you would connect your heart and your sacral chakras in order to make sure that all that energy was flowing correctly. And so there was a woman called Makeda Valletta who went around the country teaching a sensual strength workshop in conjunction with Afro-Caribbean dances, and taught women how to, harness their creative energy, which is also their sexual energy, and use of manifestation. And so all of these things started to kind of like swirl together and, of course, present itself in the art.
That's what's up, man. You mentioned about the waist beads that you're incorporating with stones and natural elements. This is, for those people who are, I wouldn't say in the movement, but are, I hate the term fake woke, because I don't believe in fake woke. But I can only use that to gather, to garner the conversation I'm trying to have. Like if I'm not so much into it, but I see everybody doing it, and I want to. Your work is not a grab off the shelf type of item. Like definitely I'm just putting. They need to spend time with Julie, or you need to spend time with them to really understand what their body and their energy is calling for. Correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
So I get the question a lot. What do you have available now? Like, what is your inventory? Can we see what is available? And all of my pieces are custom. They're all custom. They're all fully intentional. And so it's a little bit frustrating because, we live in a culture, a society, or a time that is like gratification, instant or near instant gratification. I want my stuff right now. I can go on
Right.
Amazon Prime and I can get it. And
Right.
so, when my photo went viral, there was a lot of attention and people wanted to know, how can we get this stuff now? How can we get it now? But it's very important for me to connect. And so with
Mhm.
all the thousands of DMs that I received, I went down the list of everybody and had a little conversation with them to find out who
Wow.
they were, what they were looking for, how could I help them? Because not only am I an artist, I'm also a muse. And so those kind of things go hand in hand, back and forth. I want to be able to inspire and encourage, and also have that be a very like cyclical, reciprocal thing. And so the
Hmm.
conversations are very important to me. So no, you can't just say, I like that, I want that, can I get that? You can get something inspired by that, but that was what you saw, was a conversation that I had with someone else, something
Dope.
that was very specific for them, that you may be inspired by, but you have to get what's for you.
Right. That's dope. That's real dope. Because and that goes back to. I mean, you said it. We're in an instant gratification era, but we have to remember the humanity of artistry, right? It's like we can computers and everything. They can create art, right? But it's not the artistry that connects to a person to really understand who they are, what they need, and how it's going to help transform them. I remember you had you and I went to one of the stone stores. I think it's on Magazine, and I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for some stones.
Yeah.
And it's I'm just new to it, whatever. And you was like, which one speaks to you? And I walk
Yes.
around the store, and I heard the stone say, "Hey, bro, over here."
Pick me, pick me.
I said, "What's down?" When you little stone was like, "What's down with you, man?" So we
Right.
connected, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and to that point, I have like 7 stones in my window that never moved. They've been there for I would say the last 4 years. And I can't, don't ask me to name them, but I know one is lapis lupis, something
Lapis
like that.
lazuli. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
the stone of the ancient Egyptians. Mm-hmm. Royalty.
and I'm talking my talk,
Step
man.
into
Look,
that third eye. All right,
yeah,
come on now.
yeah. So they stay charging, right? And I owe that for you. It's like my bedroom to me is my sanctuary, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what's going on around the world in my house. Even when you pass my door of my bedroom, that needs to be peace. It needs to be a place of comfort, and I need the energy to be well. So
Right.
when you walk in, the first thing is to the left is a window, and then that window sill has those stones. And I can actually say it's like that's been nothing but peace in my bedroom. So
That's
shout out
beautiful.
to Julie for that, man. You put
Thank you
me
for
on,
sharing.
man. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the viral
The viral
conversation,
picture.
the viral
Okay.
picture. Let's go
Okay.
for it. Run
All
it.
right. So, I would like to say I would like to be as appropriate as possible, but the kind of art that I do is a very liberating art.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that it has really been speaking to people. Like you said, those stones and those crystals are speaking to you.
Right.
This is all energy work. So it's not just about, being an exhibitionist and flashing what you got and slapping some copper on you. It's about the energy behind it, right? So there was
Okay.
a picture that I took of myself in
Hmm.
2012. Okay, this picture is 8 years old, and I was in a private Facebook group called Mystical Egg Story. Shout out to all my Mystical Egg Story queens and goddesses out there. I know
Shout
you
out
guys
to
are
y'all.
watching. But they really, really. So, anyways, the group was comprised of all these women who were learning about the yoni egg, and they were the jade egg, and they were sharing their experiences. And so this group, you can imagine, was very free. There was a lot of like nudity and a lot of like sacred energy work. And it was just like it was like a community of, it was like a coven. It was just a beautiful, beautiful expression. And the group disbanded, unfortunately, and a wealth of information was lost with it, but not this picture. So this is a picture that I shared in the group in 2012, and I was so excited about it because I just like went and started crafting these nipple shields. I call them nipplets, and I took the picture, made the collage. I never watermarked the picture. And so that's a lesson to you. If you're in business, you're an artist, definitely you want to protect your work. But I didn't do that. And I am kind of grateful that I didn't, because I really feel in my spirit that for this particular instance, it may have not gone as far as it would have gone had my name been attached to it.
Because it would have been seemed like it was a sale instead of just a natural image.
Exactly. And so the image was very powerful. It was of the very first nipple shields that I made. They were, I don't want to say they were archaic. They were made really, really well, but they definitely it took me years to develop the expert craftsmanship that they are today and what people are getting today now that they have waited these 8 years to get them.
So what we have up in front is something similar to that, I would say. So talk about what we have here. And I know there's a lot going on in this image. So take your time, go through it and explain so that people can know what they're looking at.
All right. So this is a piece that was commissioned back in, I want to say like 2014 or 2015. I'm not really sure, but it's another oldie but goodie. And it features the Luxe nipple shield. They have like crystals and chains, and there's a body system which goes from the neck down to the waist. There are a pair of or strand of waist beads, and then also a layering necklace. So this is a piece that was commissioned by a friend of mine, and she wanted to surprise her husband with this. So she came over to my studio. We talked about the energies that she wanted to work with, the different colors, because sometimes people don't know. Like you said, they might be fake woke, which I don't like that term either, but they're curious and they're learning. They have a hunger for this knowledge, this wisdom. And so she came over, we hashed it out. I sized her, and in a few weeks, I was able to present it to her. And so because it was a surprise for her husband, I named it Seductively Surprised. And so all my pieces have names, and of course they're based off of the conversation and the energy that they embody. And so this is one of my most popular, like requested pieces. It's not available until October, but a lot of ladies are definitely interested, especially women who want to do like boudoir kind of photo shoots and just kind of be like in their natural element, in their goddesshood with their stones and crystals on.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, it's a very beautiful piece. Yeah, and nothing else. I actually like that piece. So something you addressed earlier as you were talking about yourself, I wanted to go back to that because I think this conversation deserves that, because we're talking about femininity and appreciating of self. And I see the waist beads, the nipplets, there are some women, and I don't know all of them or any of them per se, that may have some insecurities about their bodies. How do you approach waist beads for those people who may have had surgeries or their body's been augmented in some type of way? Like, how do you approach that so they can feel comfortable in their own skin?
I'm glad you asked that question because I did want to address that. So the reason that I got into waist beads, and I probably like glossed over it a little bit, I was not happy about the way my body looked after I had a kid. And, I was the kind of girl who was like always in the crop top, got my shirt, my belly out. And I just wasn't satisfied because society says and pictures say, like, you got to snap back. You got to look, you got to be snatched. And I wasn't snatched. And so I said, well, I want to look into, cosmetic surgery. I want to enhance myself. But, if you know anything about like tummy tucks or any kind of like cosmetic surgery, there's always a scar. And so I thought that the waist beads would be a wonderful like camouflage for that, and didn't really realize how empowered I would feel outside of how I looked by wearing the waist beads. And so what I tell women, you know, we come in all shapes and sizes, and it's important to find the beauty in yourself. You know, we all have flaws. None of us are perfect. And because of that, when you wear these waist beads, or when you wear anything for that adornment, it's telling yourself, it's telling your subconscious, I accept you. I love you. I think you're beautiful. And that's, I think, what adornment is all about. And so I encourage women to, it doesn't matter. So they ask me, well, what size do you go up to? What size are you? What size are you?
Right.
So that's the size that we're making for you. And what I found is that women are a lot less critical of their bodies when they have these on. When someone even tells them, hey, you can wear this too. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Like, that's why I do this, you know, to empower women and goddesses to like really come into that, the fullness of what we really, really are. I think that because, you know, we're in this like 3D construct, we forget, you know, life has a way of making us forget like what we really like came here to do and be. And this is just like one of those simple little reminders. And it's beautiful. It's art.
No doubt. And I would say the first time I saw in my life waist beads, it had to be circa 2012, 13. And this woman, she had this dress on, and we was dancing, and I touched it, and like she pulled my hand up, and I was like, what? She's like, you don't touch my waist beads, you know. And I was like, what is, you know, I wasn't doing it purposely. I didn't know, you know, we were dancing, you know. So yeah, what is this right here? So she explained it to me, and it was very informative. And then when you and I started talking, and it took that conversation further. And for anybody that's out there, man, it's learn about it. And there's some beautiful things about it. One thing she told me, it was a weight regulator to let her know, like, hey, if I'm gaining weight, you know, the beads get tighter. It's an informant. It's for my lovers. It was so many. I can't get into it because I don't know it all. But
I mean, she ran it to you, and you remember that. No, definitely. The waist beads, the tradition of waist beads. There were a lot of different reasons why our ancestors wore them. Yes, as a rite of passage, the young girls would get that. If you had a lover, you wanted to entice your lover. Sometimes even there are a selection of women who believe that your waist beads should not be seen publicly or touched publicly by anyone outside of your lover, which I, in some ways I agree with that, but then some ways I think it's a little bit limiting. So we're just gonna, like, you know, some people do, some people don't. But also, yes, for weight control, weight management, I get a lot of ladies saying, hey, I want to lose some inches. And so I make sure in my crystal combinations, I use things like apatite, which is a crystal that helps with appetite suppression. And of course, like amethyst, which is a sobriety stone. Sometimes people eat like for emotional reasons. They're depressed or whatever like that. And so that's one of the reasons why I make sure that I'm knowledgeable about the stone, so I can say, hey, I think this will help you. And then I started recently making waist beads where they are adjustable by the person who owns them. They don't have to send them back to me to adjust them. And so when they see themselves like losing those inches, they just go and tighten them up a little bit.
No doubt. So talk a little bit about the niplets before we close out. And remember, I told you it was a 30-minute show, right? We already over. So I told you we had some good conversation.
Oh, I didn't even know. Okay, so the niplets, going back to the niplets. So I wanted to, going back to the yoni eggs, I wanted to be able to prolong the sensation. So in manifestation and sex magic, you want to feel good about whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. All of your intentions, you want to, that's your fuel. And so for me, it was connecting with the heart chakra, activating the heart chakra. And I said, what better way than to, you know, design something that would prolong the feeling of nipple erection. to be very specific. And so the niplets are designed to actually, they have like a little spring, and I should have had some with me, but I got some videos out there, some tutorials and things like that for my ladies who are interested. There's a spring kind of mechanism or tension that hugs the nipple and traps the blood inside to prolong the arousal and the erection.
And the yoni portion, you mentioned about the yoni egg.
Oh, and so the yoni eggs. So the yoni eggs are crystal eggs that are carved to be used internally for feminine health and feminine strength. And they got pretty popular in the last few years with more people like learning about them. But it's an ancient Chinese secret. It's something that was. I'm saying that in a funny way, but it's really, really serious. They were the first ones that I know of during my research to start working with jade specifically. That's why they're called jade eggs. And they would use these internally to make sure that their urogenital tract, their pelvic floor, remained very strong. And so what happens a lot of times when women age and like after childbirth and stuff like that, that pelvic floor muscle becomes weak, and then you'll have issues with like incontinence, or you might have like vaginal dryness. I'm blushing, I'm sorry. Because you're getting older, your hormones are not producing like they were when you were younger. And so working with the eggs not only have metaphysical benefits from the different crystals that you can use, they also have the added physical benefit of like tightening up and teaching you also how to relax, but mostly tightening up that pelvic floor so that you remain healthy and strong.
No doubt, man. I think all that you shared is a good place for a lot of people to start. Those people who are not, following or trying to get into this awareness. So, granted, we're in this season right now, and as you mentioned, a lot of people are starting to be taking eyesight toward the waist beads, the yoni eggs, and a lot of West African spirituality and other things that are African. And I would also add, when the movie Black Panther came out, we saw a lot of people starting to pay attention to Africa. Now we have Beyonce with the things pointing to Africa, and those things in the garments and like the dots, the markings and the coloring. What is your thoughts? And it's not a right or wrong answer. What are your thoughts about the next 5 years as it pertains to our community as a whole, focusing and begin to, I guess, represent those African attributions?
Yeah, well, I definitely think that 2020 was a time, not just COVID, but definitely a great awakening. And it's been happening for quite a few years. I'm a testament to that. And I think that and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but the further we move away from our colonized traditions, our colonized religions, which is happening, the closer we'll get back to our true selves, our true natures. And so it started with the natural hair movement. It started with more people being exposed to like waist beads. Of course, the movie Black Panther definitely got people really, really interested and looking at Africa in a way that they could feel proud about and not just disconnected from. I haven't seen the Beyonce King, God is King.
Yeah.
Don't come for me, Beehive. I haven't seen it.
Black is King, I think is what it was.
Black is King. I haven't seen it, but I definitely will take a look at it. But yeah, we're definitely coming into our own. I think we feel a little bit freer to do so, especially with all of the Black Lives Matter movement, all of the police brutality that we've been having to like deal with forever. We're starting to be empowered. We're starting to fight back in a way that honors our ancestors. It honors our higher selves. It honors our creative. Everybody's got some creativity, and I think that we're starting to embrace it, and it's just a beautiful thing. I'm so excited to be alive in this time. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to create. Like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. And yeah, this business is only going to go up from here, and I would definitely like to adorn more people, especially Black queens, Black goddesses, so that we, you know, feel good about ourselves and we can uplift our communities based on the fact that we feel good. We're full ourselves.
Right, right. You know, Julie, I really, really appreciate talking with you. We used to have these in-depth conversations all the time, but you know, life with kids and family, it moves things around. But it's always a blessing to hear your insight on just life and being Black and being, you know, a woman, um, and just bringing a perspective. Because one thing about our community, we're not monolithic. We're different people. We move different, you know, and how we see ourselves. Like everybody is not going to be following the African traditions. That's a given. We know that.
Right.
But for those people who are, you want to tie yourself or connect with people who are real about this. That's just not doing it for money or for fashion, but that's
Right.
generally is a conduit. You know, like for myself as a poet, as a writer, as a musician, anytime that, or just as a creative, like this particular, we talking about Black Friday, minding our business. This is not for Isaac. This is not for my accolades. This is
Right.
for the people, and it's for the you know. So you tied to people like that, and only you can get is good stuff, right? And it's
Yes.
like things that's gonna help you along the way. You dig what I'm saying?
Definitely, definitely.
No doubt, no
Yes.
doubt.
So
So
thank you for this platform. Thank you so much.
I ain't about to let you
Definitely
go yet. I ain't about to
needed.
let you go yet.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Not
I got
yet,
some
not
lip
yet.
to make, but I'm good.
You got orders to fill, huh?
Them orders, they be like, "Hey, where's my stuff? Where's my stuff?" And I'm like, "It's coming, baby. It's gonna be made well. It's gonna be made with lots of love, lots of energy. But it's just me.
Yeah,
It's just
and that's beautiful because it's not, man. It's not a machine punching this stuff out. Those are
no,
physical hands. You know, that's
yes.
energy that's being put into that stuff. So I'm always doing this like I'm making something, but it's
That's
I'm
how I
all
be
wrong.
looking. That's how I be looking,
Yeah,
making
yeah,
faces and
crochet.
stuff,
Yeah, like
drawing blood,
and
like, "Ow, I hurt myself."
right, and all the ideas come through you from the universe. But
Yes,
I'm gonna ask you a question before, and I think you already know what the question is. But we're gonna say that to the end. Do you know what the question is?
I
What are we
don't.
doing? All right. So when I ask you what are we doing, your answer is minding our business. All right.
Mhm.
So we go pause that for a second. So the people want to know how to get to Julie Mims. So how do we get to this fantastic woman, this phenomenal woman that make the niplets, that make that? How do we get to you, baby? Talk to us.
All right, so you can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, JB Mims. Also on Instagram at JB Mims. I have my website being updated and launching in September, along with a lot of new stuff, and it's jbmims.com. It's JB Mims everywhere, JB Mims World. So definitely, you can find me, look me up, hit me up in my DMs. Let's discuss these crystals, what you need, what you want, and I'm here for you.
No doubt. So what are we doing, Julie?
Minding our business.
No doubt, baby. I love you and I thank you for your time and your
Thank
space,
you.
man. No doubt. So we about to be out. Anything you want to leave the audience with?
Wear a mask. That's not really what I want to say. That's not what I want to say.
That's good. What do you really want to say? We got time. You good?
What I really want to say is now is the time for us to manifest our desires. You know, you got to know that you're worthy. You got to know that you were incarnated on this earth for a reason. You got a purpose, and don't let your purpose, don't let that fall by the wayside. You know, there's room enough for everybody in this world. There's room enough for the hustlers, the creatives, the educated. Find your lane and work it, hone it, own it, and also stay full. You know, meditation helps, scripting helps. I'm all about like uplifting yourself, and no, it's not all like love and light, peace and blessings or whatever. You know, sometimes we deal with our shadow side, but once you start to accept who you are, watch all these miracles start happening for you.
No, that's a beautiful way to end. I appreciate you, baby. I really do.
Thank you. Thank
Peace.
you. Deuces. Beanie weenie.
Hey, I see you. That thing
Beanie
weak.
weenie.